From the headquarters of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador, I'm Carla Gonzalez, and this is From the South. The authorities in Colombia say 2 more social leaders have been killed, bringing the total number of murders of leaders to 21 in the last month. The victims are Margarita Estupiñán, a leader from the southwest region of Tumaco, and Ana María Cortés from the municipality of Cáceres, in the northwest of the country. A total of 4 people were killed only this week. Social movements have urged authorities to take measures to protect social leaders. Various social and political organizations are coming together to prevent what they call a genocide being committed against human rights defenders and social leaders in Colombia.
Social organizations have documented one by one the systematic murders against social leaders. There have been 420 homicides since 2016. Now they feel they have to rethink their actions which defends life and land.
We have thought of several things. We think about having peace territories and asking for help from international organizations because they have been the ones that have been pressuring the Colombian state.
When these social organizations met with senior officials of Juan Manuel Santos' government, their response was re-victimization by turning public opinion against them.
The response from the state's institutions is practically new, and it has been shameful because these institutions deny the genocide by the state and they ridicule the victims.
The alternative political parties believe that with the election of Iván Duque to the presidency, the violations to human rights could get worse.
We are afraid because of what happened in the 8 years of Uribe's administration in terms of human rights violations. That didn't stop in the 8 years of Santos' administration. So we, as a party and a coalition of political forces, we will fight to guarantee the life of social leaders.
In face of this new government and the current conflict situation that Colombia is living, an alternative parliamentary bloc has been created to avoid a new wave of violence.
We are preparing and promoting actions like hearings with the Ombudsman, demonstrations, and several activities to raise awareness.
The majority of the alternative senators who will take office on July 20th affirm that their work in Congress will be focused on the respect of life and fulfilling the agreements signed with now extinct guerrilla FARC. Different political parties, along with social movements, will protest on August 7th to denounce the persecution of social leaders.
Tatiana Portela, Telesur, Bogotá, Colombia.
Staying in Colombia, 7 men attacked a group of trans women in a hairdressing salon in Bogotá. According to the victims, they were chatting and having coffee when a group of men attacked them with a screwdriver and shouted they should leave the neighborhood or they will kill them. 549 LGBTI people were killed in Colombia between 2013 and 2017. Supporters of the former Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa are planning a march on Thursday against what they say is a campaign of persecution against him. On Wednesday, the government of Ecuador recalled its ambassador in Bolivia and suspended plans to send its new ambassador to Venezuela after Presidents Evo Morales and Nicolás Maduro criticized a decision by Ecuador's National Court to order the arrest of Correa.
High Ecuadorian authorities rejected the declarations made by the governments of Bolivia and Venezuela in support to Rafael Correa. The Foreign Ministry also suspended a proposed visit by the new Ecuadorian ambassador to Venezuela and has recalled the country's ambassador in Bolivia for consultations.
We have presented formal complaints, and we have convened the ambassadors in our country so they can explain what their government's posture is in regards to the internal problems of Ecuador.
On his Facebook account, Rafael Correa published a video where he thanked his supporters and also rejected the measures taken by Judge Daniela Camacho.
Do not worry about me. Worry about our country and how they are tearing it apart. What they ask for is outrageous, and it will never happen in a country like Belgium or any country with a proper rule of law.
Lawmakers loyal to the citizen revolution movement urged Rafael Correa to not return to the country. The members also decried this resolution made by the court as a political persecution.
We have told the former president to analyze the possibility of a political asylum request. He is clearly being persecuted. His life and physical integrity are in danger.
However, social and political leaders from across Latin America continue to express solidarity and show their support for Ecuador's former president, Rafael Correa. His supporters are calling for protests against the actions of Moreno administration. Denise Herrera, Telesur Quito, Ecuador.
On Sunday, the Mexican people voted for change, not only in the presidency, but across every level of the government. The Together We'll Make History coalition, led by President-elect Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador, has so far won an unprecedented number of seats in Congress in a country historically ruled by two conservative parties.
The National Electoral Institute has moved on to the next stage of the general election. The counting of ballots has started before the final results are delivered.
So far, only knowing the preliminary results, this election has a huge difference in votes between first and second place. We have not seen something like this in nearly 40 years.
This huge advantage stands despite irregularities like what happened in the state of Puebla, where Marta Erika Alonso, the wife of current governor Rafael Moreno Valle, won the governorship. Suspecting fraud in these results, the people took to the streets. According to official data, in both houses of Congress, the Together We'll Make History coalition will get more than double the seats that the party in second place. This fact creates a new legislative landscape.
There's a lot of responsibility on our shoulders, and we understand this fact. But every decision made in agreement with other parties is much more stronger than a decision made only by us. So we're going to be in constant dialogue with the other political forces.
To this Morena legislator, the new shape of both houses of Congress obeys to popular will of creating a new political agenda.
Our mandate is no more privatizations, not of natural resources, nor of strategic sectors, and that the social rights of the people be protected. We are going to work under these mandates.
Across different media, it's been said that after this election, Mexico has painted itself in red, in reference to the characteristic color of the National Regeneration Movement, Morena, that has been victorious in 30 out of 31 states, as well as in the capital.
Mexican President-elect Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador met with Business Coordinating Council, or CEE, to agree on a wide agenda of cooperation between his upcoming government and the business sector. With this meeting, Lopez Obrador and Mexican business owners officially signaled peace after tensions rose during the electoral campaign. The left-wing leader said he respects private enterprise. Both sides committed to collaborate in order to push Mexico's economy and social welfare.
We are inaugurating a new stage. We will head towards the transformation of Mexico. Along the path of harmony, we are not going to impose anything. We are going to be open to discussion, and we are going to combine.
His attitude and the atmosphere of the meeting was one of confidence and certainty, of work and joint commitment, of serenity, but also a future for the future in that commitment. So we're thankful.
In Bolivia, President Evo Morales said on Wednesday he has undergone an operation for a small tumor. On Twitter, Morales explained that the tumor was detected during a routine checkup. "I am very grateful for your solidarity, your prayers, and your blessings," he said. The Bolivian president previously underwent surgery in Cuba to remove a benign tumor from his throat last year.
Regarding our president, he informed us that after a meeting that we had with the National Council for Change, he was having some routine medical exams that had already been planned. Those exams will continue. Now, everything is going very well. And for these new days, the president has suspended his activities. But I think that from Thursday afternoon, the president will continue his normal activities and daily activities as planned.
We'll take a short break now, but join us again after a video from our multimedia team. Welcome back. The CARICOM heads of government are in Montego Bay, Jamaica, for the second day of the heads of government meeting. On the first day, on Wednesday, leaders spoke on the importance of regional integration and implementing the single market, which would allow for free movement of skilled workers throughout the Caribbean. Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, who is also CARICOM's current chair, said the region needs to stand together against what is sometimes the unfair practice of implementing global compliance standards.
Small countries are now burdened with having to put in place systems of compliance, whether it is with the OECD, whether it is with the European Union, whether it is with the United States. But as I said earlier, our response is not to shirk from the responsibility of global compliance, but to ask for fairness and support in developing and implementing the systems. Because at the end of the day, our small economies must stand up as examples of transparency, accountability, and stand strong against any hint of corruption.
Mia Mottley of Barbados, in her first address to CARICOM, said the organization needed to do more to implement integration because young people are losing patience with the leaders.
So we are here to recommit. And I just said to Prime Minister Mitchell, as I could have said to Prime Minister Brown, their speeches have spoken to the need for commitment to regional integration. And very often, as they did, we speak in terms of the trade and regulations. But I want us not to forget our purpose and our passion, the people's interests. Behind closed doors at retreats and in isolation from our advisors and our population, we continue to develop these noble and lofty ideas and then delegate them for execution. Hide behind the phrase agreed in principle, as Prime Minister Mitchell just said.
Grenada is preparing a budget for the November referendum, which will decide whether they will make the Caribbean Court of Justice their final appeals court. The last referendum in Grenada in 2016 cost well over $1 million, but it was subsidized by the UNDP. This time it will be funded solely by the government. But more than the budget, one of the biggest issues facing Grenadians is raising awareness about the importance of the CCJ. Meanwhile, the Caribbean Court of Justice swore in its new president on Wednesday. Sir Dennis Byron has retired from the bench, passing the torch on to CCJ's third president, Justice Adrian Saunders. Originally from St. Vincent, Justice Saunders was appointed a judge of the CCJ in 2005. The transition took place as a part of the activities before the CARICOM meeting. In his inaugural speech, Justice Saunders praised the work of the CCJ over the years and encouraged Caribbean leaders who had not yet embraced the CCJ to do so.
The states of Grenada and Antigua and Barbuda are the only countries that absolutely require a referendum to accede to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ. I am extremely heartened to learn that the Prime Ministers of these states have recently publicly indicated their desire and intention, respectively, to hold such a poll with a view to joining the states of Guyana, Barbados, Belize, and Dominica in sending their final appeals to the CCJ. Given the resilience of the Caribbean people, I fervently believe that the only logical path will ultimately be taken by the other states, hopefully sooner rather than later.
People in El Salvador are set to protest once again against the privatization of water later on Thursday. Members of the University of El Salvador made a call for this new demonstration. They will march towards the Legislative Assembly in capital city San Salvador to reject the bill presented by the conservative Arena Party. Protesters see this law project as a covert attempt to privatize a basic good. The last demonstration ended up in clashes between students and the police. Our correspondent Ernesto Ábalos has more details on the strike.
I'm standing just close to the Cuscatlán Park in capital city, San Salvador, where union organizations, youth, women, and environmental organizations are set to gather to march to the Legislative Assembly. They want to demand lawmakers in charge of the Environment and Climate Change Commission to stop the privatization of water in the country. Students of the National University are also marching to protest as well. The commission is made up of 11 lawmakers, 9 of them from the right wing. Protesters are especially worried about an article in the bill that gives the control of water to 2 members of the private sector, 2 municipality representatives and just 1 chosen by the president.
That was Ernesto Ábalos from El Salvador. Taxi drivers in Costa Rica formed a caravan and marched in capital city San Juan to protest against Uber. Protesters gathered in front of the presidential palace to urge the government to take measures against what they describe as unfair competition. They claim the arrival of the ride-sharing app to the country has led them to bankruptcy. Taxi drivers demanded to meet with President Carlos Alvarado. The government offered them to meet with the Minister of Transportation, Rodolfo Méndez, but protesters refused. We'll take one last short break, but join us again after another video from our multimedia team. Thanks for joining us again. On the 4th day of his visit to China, the Venezuelan Finance Minister Simón Serpa has been meeting top Chinese oil officials to discuss a loan deal to foster oil production in Venezuela. Isaura Diaz reports from Beijing.
China and Venezuela are talking oil and finance. Simón Serpa met Wang Yilin, the chairman of the China National Petroleum Corporation, one of the biggest energy groups in the world.
We have several joint ventures in oil production with CNPC, amongst them Sinovenza, which is the best example. It's the most successful joint venture there is in the Orinoco oil belt, and its operations are financed in large part by the China Development Bank.
Caracas and Beijing are working hard to keep their trade flowing, using alternatives that avoid the sanctions imposed by Washington.
Our company gives high priority to the collaboration with PDVSA, to cooperation between China and Venezuela. We've been working together for more than 20 years, and I'm sure we will collaborate even more in the future.
The Venezuelan finance minister says the priority must be to increase production and thereby maintain and strengthen the cooperation with Chinese partners.
We want to increase production at Sinovenza, Petro Urica, Petro Sumanu, and all the joint ventures we have with China. in all the new projects we're developing with our Chinese partners, especially CNPC, which is China's biggest oil production company.
Serpa also talked to his Chinese counterpart, Shi Hongchai, about a possible exchange of know-how and data between their two finance ministries. The Venezuelan minister is also meeting top officials at the China Development Bank, the biggest in China, which finances many high-priority infrastructure projects.
The head of Britain's counter-terrorism office has confirmed that the couple who were found unconscious on Wednesday were exposed to the Novichok nerve agent. The police say they are being treated at the Salisbury District Hospital and are currently in critical condition. The couple were found unconscious in their home in Amesbury, a few kilometers away from the city of Salisbury, where former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Julia were also allegedly attacked with the same nerve agent.
They're treating it for the nerve agent thing that was going around in Salisbury that time, in Salisbury the day before. And I think they went off somewhere to talk and they must have touched something that was contaminated and they got infected the next day.
Let's go to our correspondent in London, Pablo Navarrete, who brings us the latest on this case.
The new alleged poisoning has taken place in Amesbury, which is less than 12 kilometres from Salisbury, and lies equidistant to the controversial and secretive British military research facility, chemical warfare research facility, Porton Down. The couple, Charlie Rowley and Dawn Sturgis, are both in their mid-40s and are said to be in a critical condition, according to the British police, and they were found on Saturday at their house. Now, it is worth recalling that the British government, following the 4th of March poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter, blamed the Russian government for this poisoning, something that the Russians have contested and denied from the very first moment. The resulting spat resulted in diplomats being expelled from the Russian embassy in London and vice versa, and plunged relations between both countries to their worst since the end of the Cold War.
Meanwhile, Russia has said it is willing to help the investigation into the Salisbury poisoning. But these new poisonings were carried out against British citizens, and there's nothing that links the Russian government to them. Russia has already rejected all accusations against them by the UK in connection to the Novichok nerve agent. Even the UK laboratory that analyzed the substance reporting there's no way of knowing where the substance came from in the first place. The 12 boys and their football coach trapped in the caves in northern Thailand are being taught how to scuba dive. Authorities are looking into the best possible way to safely rescue the boys. And while diving would be their fastest way out, it involves a high level of risk. The ongoing rainy season has impeded the rescue operation, with caves flooding despite rescuers' continued efforts to pump water out. For now, the boys have been provided with food, medicine and thermal blankets. The Thai Navy SEALs say the boys are coping well. The fate of these boys has brought back memories of the Chilean miners who were trapped underground for 69 days in 2010. Mario Sepúlveda is one of the 33 men rescued, and he sent a message for the boys.
I would like to send greetings and a lot of strength to the authorities and the families of these 12 children who are underground. I have no doubt that if the government of Thailand makes all possible efforts, this rescue will be successful. May God bless you. We are praying for each of you, for each of the families, and for these children.
The Jabara Film Festival is underway in Cuba, a great showcase of independent films in the island. Let's take a look.
On April 21, 2003, Humberto Solas created a festival to defend the concept of low-budget cinema. And since the beginning, it's been an independent project. The Arts Festival doesn't only take place in cinemas, but also on the streets and the squares of the city.
We will keep working on this festival, just like Humberto Solas taught us, so it keeps growing.
More than 40 films will be screened. This time the theme is youth. The selection committee approved 25 fictional films between features and short films, 16 documentaries and 3 animated films. There's a strong presence of European and Latin American films. National and international representatives from the industry will be part of the jury. On opening day, honor awards will be given to 3 artists: filmmaker Enrique Pineda Parnet and the actors Murtha Ibarra and Salvador Wood. Cuban songwriter Silvio Rodriguez gave a concert on the first day of the festival. He gave this exclusive interview to Telesur.
Es una ciudad muy hermosa.
Jabara is a very beautiful city. It reminds me of many things from my childhood because it looks like my hometown. This is not my first time here, and it pleases me a lot to perform in places like this that only work to be better, to stay up. I think this festival contributes to all that. I've been singing in the streets for 8 years, not because I have something against theaters and venues, but because I love street music. I've already sung a lot in theaters, so now I dedicate my last years as a singer to my roots, to the people. I feel great with that. This concert is special because of Jabara. Its people are so open and friendly. I hope this festival lasts a long time, and I feel it will. I think that the people of Jabara won't let it die, and they will motivate us to continue doing it.
A las calles.
Lights, Jabara, Action. The festival will last until July the 7th.
And before we end our show, remember you can watch our special World Cup program with Argentina football star Diego Armando Maradona. De la mano del 10, the World Cup according to Maradona. It will air only on Telesur every night throughout the tournament in Russia. And with that, we come to the end of this news brief. But there's another stories, you can find them on our website, telesurtv.net/English. And be sure to also follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Telesur English, I'm Carla Gonzalez. Thank you for watching.
In South America and the Caribbean, we face challenges, looking for ways of contributing to solutions to the nations. With a uniting feeling, though for the attack of those imposing themselves, we defend an ideal of an inspiring struggle. We are together, preserving our traditions, integrated, being one South.